Alright, let's talk about inflation. It sounds complicated, but it's really just this. Over time, your money buys less stuff. Remember when $5 could get you a pile of candy? Now it barely covers a fancy coffee. Inflation is when prices rise and your dollar loses power, like a superhero after a rough day. Imagine last year's pizza cost $10, but this year it's $11. Same pizza, but your money doesn't stretch as far. A little inflation is normal. Central banks even aim for about 2% to keep the economy moving. But when prices jump faster than your paycheck, your budget feels like fiction. Suddenly, you're working just as hard but getting less for it. That's why inflation isn't just a boring headline, it's a real problem for millions. So, where are we now in the inflation saga? Buckle up. After the chaos of the early 2020s, inflation peaked at over 9% in 2022, way above the 2% target. The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates to cool things down, and now, in late 2025, inflation hovers around 3 to 4%. That's better, but still not great. The average number doesn't tell the whole story. Housing and car insurance are still painfully expensive, even if TVs are cheaper. Officials might celebrate the lower headline number, but everyday people still feel the pinch at the grocery store. The disconnect between statistics and real life is frustrating. Recovery is slow, and the finish line keeps moving. It's not a crisis anymore, but things are far from normal. The house isn't burning down, but it's definitely still smoldering. How did we get here? It's a mix of culprits. First, supply and demand. Pandemic shortages plus high demand sent prices soaring. Then, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates low and pumped money into the economy, making borrowing cheap but flooding the system with cash. Global events, like the war in Ukraine, spiked energy and food prices, raising costs everywhere. When oil gets expensive, so does everything else. And some companies took advantage, raising prices more than necessary, so-called greedflation. It's a messy cocktail: broken supply chains, government policy, global crises, and a dash of corporate opportunism. No single villain, just a perfect storm. That's how inflation got out of control. How does inflation hit your daily life? It's everywhere. Groceries cost more, even if your cart looks the same. Gas prices eat into your budget, leaving less for everything else. Savings lose value. If inflation is 4% and your account earns less, your money shrinks. This is brutal for retirees and anyone on a fixed income. Inflation makes planning for the future stressful. Should you ask for a raise, switch jobs, or put off big decisions? It feels unfair, like the rules keep changing. The psychological toll, stress, anxiety, frustration, is real. Inflation isn't just numbers, it's a daily struggle. So what can you do? Start with your budget. Track every dollar, cut what you don't need, and look for cheaper alternatives. Small changes add up. Switch to store brands, make coffee at home, and plan meals to avoid waste. Try to boost your income. Ask for a raise, pick up extra work, or start a side hustle. Pay down high-interest debt fast. It only gets worse with inflation. Don't let your savings sit idle. Look for options like I-bonds or invest for the long term. Protect your money from losing value. Inflation is tough, but you're not powerless. Smart moves now can help you weather the storm. You don't need a bunker, just a plan.